Hey everybody at the Maneuver Warfighting Conference. Brigadier General Wally Rugen here from the Future Vertical Lift Cross-Functional Team, and really want to thank everyone and the organizers during this pandemic for allowing us an opportunity to speak to you, even though it's virtually. It's really great to be able to talk Future Vertical Lift, what we're doing, and give you an update on how we're delivering capability to our soldiers. And it's going to be truly transformational capability. As we worked these past couple years on Future Vertical Lift, we are laser focused on hyper enabling our soldiers on future battlefields to be lethal, to be survivable, and to have the transformational capability we think we need to fight and win on any battlefield against any peer or near peer threat. So again, thanks for inviting us out. I think as we look at the things we've been doing, really what we're finding over and over and over again is that the lower tier of the air domain is in fact decisive. In the lower tier of the air domain, there's a lot of places to hide. To put it simply, to put it bluntly, there's a lot of radar clutter. There's a lot of things that we can use to be able to maneuver into a position of advantage and to find, fix, and finish pacing threats, high payoff threats, and that's what we've been laser focused on. So when we talk about how we are defining the lower tier of the air domain, how we are experimenting in the lower tier of the air domain, really it starts with 33 simulations and war games that we've done over the last 2 years. We've looked at our mission threads in penetration, disintegration, and exploitation. We've gone out and gotten the best high fidelity physics-based model from another service. We took that model to the intelligence community, and at a very high classification level got the toughest threat laydown we could. And we're up to now 20,000 engineered runs fighting this enemy in this threat laydown, in this model. And we've done over 5,000 simulation hours and taken that to define our requirements on what we need in our ecosystem, again, to fight and win in the lower tier of the air domain. We've had well over 100 mission sorties, well over 200 flight hours in this high threat environment in real life. So we've flown it live at our Western test ranges, and all that knowledge management is feeding back into our requirements and feeding back into what we're going to do to be lethal, survivable in the lower tier of the air domain, and hyper enabling our soldiers to, again, fight and win. So what else I would say is that we're on schedule and on budget. We're going to deliver many of these capabilities this decade, and I'll get into that a little bit later as I talk each program and the specifics of each program. But just a foot stomp again on our extensive modeling, our extensive experimentation in real life, live flights. And we're out there right now at Yuma Proving Ground in Project Convergence 20. And at Project Convergence 20, we're looking at multiple mission threads, but also relevant kill chains. And so we want a kill chain that is not only defined by our ability to bring effects, both lethal and non-lethal, onto our threats, but do it in a manner that is informed by our intelligence reporting. And so if we have to bring effects within 10 minutes of finding a threat, 8 minutes, 6 minutes, we have to make sure our kill chains are relevant. Again, we're flying this week out at Yuma against live radar threat emitters. We're working with 5th gen fighters, Army drone swarms, electronic warfare, new electronic warfare capabilities, but also the other cross-functional teams, so network, long-range precision fires, next-gen combat vehicle, and assured precision and navigation and timing. And we're showing that integration of all those capabilities to be able, again, to penetrate, disintegrate, and exploit in a very high-threat environment. From an aviation standpoint, if you kind of neck down and put us in a bit of a stovepipe, we are really honing our advanced ingress techniques against advanced threats and running our experimentation in a live flight environment over and over and over to really sharpen those tactics and techniques with transformational technology. This week is going to be a pivotal week for us, and look forward to reporting out to you the successes and the learning we've done out at Yuma to date. When we look across our programs, the big programs, I think many of you have seen the aircraft that are out there flying, but what is so important to us is that we are prototyping early and often, and that we're flying in real life so we can inform our requirements and not, again, build something that is just unattainable, not effective, or something is we've just reached too low or too high in the technology. And what we're seeing with these prototypes is just an immense amount of learning to be able to inform our requirements and keep that discipline in our requirements. So Future Attack Reconnaissance Aircraft. This is the #1 gap in Army aviation. When we lost our OH-58D Scout, we gave the Army a suboptimal Scout capability and Apache teamed with Shadow. Those capabilities are not the kind of leap-ahead transformational reconnaissance, surveillance, and target acquisition we need in a Scout aircraft. And so Future Attack Reconnaissance Aircraft is our #1 priority. We down-selected in March, just before the pandemic really hit its stride, to 2 performers. Those 2 performers are Lockheed Martin and Sikorsky as one performer, and Bell Helicopter as another performer. Those 2 performers owe us their final designs by this November, and we will kick off a live flight prototyping effort in fiscal year 23. Again, we're on schedule and on budget for that activity, and very proud of that activity because it has stayed either ahead of schedule or just on schedule. We talk about the ability with an ecosystem to find, fix, and finish our pacing threats in the penetration phase of MDO. And really FARA is going to bring that along with unmanned systems. And the first unmanned systems is air-launched effects. So these are small drones that will go out. They're very attritable, so they're cheap. We're digitally printing many of the plastic parts out at Yuma this week. And these small drones have a number of payload capabilities that are, I wouldn't say easy on and off, but certainly tailorable in the field for the commander. So we're looking at EOIR payloads, but also electronic warfare payloads and kinetic payloads. And we're, again, experimenting with all those out in Yuma this summer. With air-launched effects, we had a number of contracts awarded this past month. And what we're looking at doing is, again, prototyping early and often, putting it in a competitive acquisition process. And what we're looking is at a first unit equipped by fiscal year 24. If all goes right. And what we're seeing with our science and technology efforts is these little drones are doing a phenomenal job. We've launched them from Black Hawk helicopters as low as 150 feet and at speeds up to 80 knots. And you ask, well, why? Why would you ever want to use a helicopter or a rotorcraft to launch these air-launched effects? Well, there might be a mountain, there might be a lack of roads via a swamp, or there might be a river with no bridge on it. And again, you're going to want that aerial maneuver to be able to put these drones out where a commander wants them to be able to, again, find, fix, and finish any pacing threats or any high payoff threats that you may see out there. When we talk about air-launched effects, again, I think transformational. We've had a swarm of up to 6 in the air at one time. They extend our mesh network for the ground forces, and again, help us with all of our RISTA tasks out there. Next in the unmanned system category is our future tactical UAS. This is really our shadow replacement. 5 brigades have this capability where we're buying before and flying before we lay down the exact requirement. But what the field told us out of 18th Airborne Corps and 1st Corps is they wanted a shadow replacement that was runway independent. They wanted a shadow replacement that was far quieter, and they wanted a shadow replacement that could be transported across the battlefield in our own organic aircraft, i.e. one Chinook. We've delivered those to the 5 brigades, a brigade out of the 1st Infantry Division, the 101st, 1-2 Stryker SBCT up at JBLM, Fort Bliss, and also the 82nd. Those shadow platoons are flying those aircraft as we speak. The lessons learned will be brought into our requirements process, and we will have Army Requirements Oversight Council with Army senior leaders by March of next year based on all those efforts. And again, all those 5 brigades will take these systems that we've delivered to them to a CTC rotation. So the veracity of the data is going to be very, very high, and we're seeing, again, to good effect, many of the capabilities, especially the runway independence, in allowing these aircraft to be forward out of the BSA and forward with our reconnaissance elements to, again, give the ground commanders what they need to fight and win. When we look at our next aircraft, it's really the Future Long-Range Assault. This is our Black Hawk replacement. You're seeing these prototypes or tech demonstrators fly as we started this effort probably around 2014. So you're seeing the V-280 Valor based on a Bell design out there flying. That aircraft has achieved 305 knots. Again, tilt rotor technology. And then you're also seeing the Sikorsky, Boeing, Lockheed Defiant aircraft, which is a lift offset compound, so it's a dual rotor system with a pusher prop, and you're seeing that flying as well. And so what do these aircraft give us? Well, they really truly give us transformational capability in our medium lift fleet. We're looking at nearly double the range, more than double the speed, more than double the endurance. And what it really brings you from a maneuver perspective is we are clawing back, and more than clawed back, an air assault, a brigade air assault in one period of darkness. And so those aircraft, as they demonstrate the, again, the tech readiness of these advanced rotorcraft configurations, very proud of what we're seeing there. Some of the transformational capabilities we're seeing in an air assault is the elimination of FARPs mid-mission. So if you want to do a 200 nautical mile air assault, again, you're not going to have to FARP or refuel halfway there, halfway to the target, and that's what the Black Hawk would give you. Again, do we want to go 200 nautical miles deep? No. But what we see in multi-domain operations is you may want to do the air assault into the Korean Peninsula from Japan. Currently, you couldn't do that with the Black Hawk. But with these advanced rotorcraft configurations, you're going to be able to do that brigade air assault and still do it from Japan, which we call a place of relative sanctuary, still in one period of darkness. And what you would also see is an ability to air assault from maybe eastern France into any Eastern Europe scenario, instead of having to be very up close in Poland or something like that. Again, those are just some examples to help you visualize what we're bringing with our future long-range assault aircraft. Again, what we're seeing with future long-range assault is we're on schedule, on budget, and really with the FY21 budget, we pulled it left. The chief said, hey, let's pull it left and accelerate it 4 years. And so we're actually going faster than we were last year. The last thing I want to talk about is the long-range precision munition. Currently, we have a directed requirement that's approved and funded. 3 Apache battalions out of 3 cabs will get by fiscal year 23 an ability to basically fire a missile, non-line of sight missile, 32 kilometers unclassified. We've done 9 successful shots off an Apache with master gunners from the 82nd and 25th Infantry Divisions. Again, this missile is transformational in its capability to look out and see those things that might be hunting your aviation formations, stand outside their weapon engagement zones, and bring lethal effects on down them. And what we saw with the 9 shots is that we can keep the Apache at low altitudes. We're talking 150 to 300 feet, fire over terrain, keep the Apache masked, and still bring these effects onto our pacing threats, those short-range air defense systems that are hunting your aviation brigades. And so that's kind of a portfolio review for you. That's a review of our thinking and what we're driving on in the FVL CFT. And again, as I started, I would just like to foot stomp on what I see as truly what we're deriving from our modeling, from our simulation, and from our flights in real life and our prototyping efforts in real life. That the lower tier of the air domain is in fact decisive because of the radar clutter and the ability to mask, and that we're bringing capabilities that have the lethal reach to stand outside of the threat systems and still affect them decisively. That we're hyper-enabling our soldiers with transformational capability, both on the RISTA side, but also the air assault side. And then lastly, I didn't touch on it, but the medevac side, we're seeing a doubling of the ranges on our golden hour. And so when you see all that, we are going to be able to fight and win on any future battlefield. Very proud to be invited to the Warfighter Conference here. I look forward to talking to you all in person at a later date, but please reach out to me if I can do anything for you. Thanks, and have a great day.